The hottest thing you can do on a date with a woman, listen closely. I'm gonna tell you. Maybe I'm insane, but I don't think that's being insane. Hey, I've converted to the Church of Whimsy. Men want to be pretty, which is great. If that gets men to use conditioner, then I'm for it. Look at how big this is. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Boy Problems. It's me, your friend Liz. Today, we are going to be talking about how to make your life more whimsy. And this might seem like a trite kind of topic. Why do we look? The world is on fire. Why would we be talking about making things more whimsical? Actually, because the world is on fire, it is our duty to make things more whimsical for ourselves, for our families and friends and lovers, and I think just for the world in general. I think the world needs now is love. That song. I think the song of this decade is what the world needs now is more whimsy. That's how I have been approaching my mental health lately. As you know, I have been going through a friend breakup and it has been very painful. It's just bad vibes all around. And here's my thing. There's, a sort of comfortable or like a familiar path, right? We all have things that feel familiar that we do that we kind of like are like, why do I do that? Because it's familiar. The brain will choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And that's not a character defect. That's not like, oh, I need to work on myself. Like that's pretty much, it's just how the brain works. Okay. Our brains want to predict what's going to happen and they will choose comfort over happiness. Okay. That's just the way that it is. That's why we sometimes have relationship patterns we don't like, or we have eating habits we don't like, or other kinds of things that we do that we're like, I hate that I do that. But I've always done it that way. And so that's why my brain wants to keep doing it that way. So for me, the way to break the habit of being myself, okay, is to find more whimsy in my life. And actually, okay, wait, I just came up with the term. Whimsymaxxing? Is that what we call it? Because, okay, if you don't know what looksmaxxing is, go back to our episode with Adam Faze. He talks about it. He talked about it kind of before everyone else was. Now I feel like it's a pretty mainstream conversation. But this guy called Clavicular, who's this really big male manosphere guy, manfluencer, he has come up with the term looksmaxxing, or I don't know if he came up with it, but he's doing it real hard and is now being really known for it, which is basically what women have been doing since the beginning of time. It's just that men had to come up with like a procedural word for it. It means being hot, trying to be hot. But whatever, they call it looksmaxxing. It's sort of like when guys, you go to their house and their shampoo is like, it's the exact same thing as the girl shampoo, but it's all black. They put some black like dye in there and they call it the killer, the split ends killer. It's like, well, it makes your hair soft. Okay, that's what it really does. But anyway, so if that gets men to use conditioner, then I'm for it. So looksmaxxing is basically just being pretty. Okay, so men want to be pretty, which is great. I'm for it. But they're going about it in an extremely toxic way because, that's what you can count the internet to do. So Clavicular essentially uses a hammer to make his jaw more pronounced. ? Don't do that. If you're listening, don't do that. And I think he takes meth to eat less. That's what guys are doing. And they're calling it looksmaxxing. And apparently so my friend Simone told me this last night. They're also, there's a term now called gesture maxing where men optimize being funny. It's called being funny. It's called having a personality, but they have to, again, give it a crazy term. So it's called gesture maxing. And that's when men get really good at making jokes and having a good personality to make up for their looks if they're not where they want to be looks wise. So, okay, Chessie, our producer, says the hammer stuff is light tapping on the face. They make it sound so much more intense than it is, which is such a good point. It's basic. Okay, I'm sorry, but like probably gua shaing your face is probably more hardcore than like tapping it. He's tapping it with a hammer, but like, you're right. It's just doing this. It's like they do that during a facial, dude. Just go get a facial. Call it what it is. I'm so sick of them stealing our culture. The cultural appropriation that the manosphere is doing of girlhood and girl culture is just sending me. So I'm gonna coin Whimsymaxxing before they do, because we have come up with it before they do. And by we, I mean girls and guys who like them, because the counter to the manosphere is not just girls, it's guys who are hot and like women. And I feel like that's, whenever a guy listens to this podcast, that's where he fits into that's my lip gloss. This is our army against the manosphere, girls and those guys. So we are gonna coin Whimsymaxxing, and here's how to Whimsymax. First of all, you're gonna get a croissant. And turns out I did order one once a month, which is probably right when I'm ovulating. I haven't checked, but well, we're all, I'm sure, syncing our menstrual cycles. And I don't know what it means to sync with a guy, but there must be a like, what is it? Okay, maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. What is the equivalent of a woman syncing up with her female friend, or women syncing up if they live in the same apartment or same house? What is like the male equivalent of that? What do guys do? Let me know. I don't really know. So croissants, there's a meme going around that I think is, and sorry to bring up politics, but the meme is croissants should be free for girls. And I really stand by that. There was a little bakery in Montreal called Au Pain de Riz. If you know, you know. And I would go with my mom sometimes, or my dad, or both. And if I showed up, I got a little bun, okay? And I thought that was just for me. No, it was for all kids. I think maybe other kids who grew up in the 90s in Montreal can confirm or deny, but you got a free little bun. And it was so whimsy. It was so whimsy. So I think croissants should be free for girls. I think we should apply that law across the board. I think it should be in the UN convention. I think globally, girls, every time a girl enters a bakery, she should get a free croissant. I don't see a problem. I just see problems being solved. I see reparations, for what we've been through, not just in the last couple of months. If you work at a bakery, make a few more croissants, or just surprise a girl with a croissant. I've never worked in a bakery, which is I've worked in a lot of different, did I work in a bakery? And I worked at a pool where we had to get up really early to wash the pool, but get it, you have to get up early at the bakery. You're up for everyone else. It's very whimsy. It's very whimsical. If anyone works at a bakery, sound off in the comments. And I know you probably can't offer every girl who comes in a free croissant, but give them out once in a while. So I ordered myself an almond croissant once a month, coming back to my once a month comment, probably when I am ovulating. I just need an almond croissant, and I need it filled with marzipan. And there's only one place. Marzipan is whimsy. We should have a whimsy sound. Maybe it's like a jingle. Whimsy. Marzipan is whimsy, period. If you need to get a girl something, and by girl, I mean woman, obviously. Okay. Sue me. Being a girl, though, is whimsy. I think that feeling like you're a girl again is one of the most whimsy things that you can do as a woman, right? The way to be a woman is to let yourself be a girl. And so if you, as a man, need to get a girl or a woman something, get something that has a special, like a lotion or a candle. If there's a marzipan candle, if there's a soupçon of marzipan in that lotion, it's a 99, it's a hole in one. What's a sports metaphor that men can understand? It's a 10 out of 10. It's a hole in one. It's a 10-yard line shot. Is that the football? Okay. I just set feminism back. I do it once an episode. I'm allowed to do it once an episode. Okay. So I got myself an almond croissant, and I'm going to eat it. And the reason why it's hot. I'm so happy it's hot. I love this place. It's literally 4:30 in the afternoon. It's hot. This doesn't even make sense. Shout out Cafe Los Feliz. I paid for this croissant myself, which I have explained I'm against. Are you ready? If you're not watching this on Spotify or YouTube, this is why you have to follow me on YouTube. Look at the size. Look at how big it is. Look at how big this is. If this doesn't get you to subscribe on my YouTube channel, I don't know what does. The size of this almond croissant, it defies the laws of logic and science. It's so heavy. I'm like so happy right now. I'm doing my podcast with all of you and I'm eating my favorite thing. Oh my God. Marzipan icing. Marzipan in an almond croissant. Genius. That just like changed the course of my entire day. I like lost eyesight for a minute there. That croissant. Wow. No, just get a croissant. Just if you're feeling low, and this happens to me, I'll wake up and I'll be like, this is not it. You know, and then I'll turn around and I'll be like, oh, maybe I have a cute text. And then I don't. And in fact, I have the opposite. I have like 4 people asking me for things that I don't want to deal with. So that's when I decide, okay, we got to turn this morning around. And this is the thing that I need to remind myself of. You can start your day over at any time. This croissant, this marzipan delight, changed the course of my day. My day is fundamentally different now. I will remember this day in a totally different way. So you can choose if you wake up feeling like crap. And even if you spend the first 3 hours of your day feeling like crap, you can decide 3 hours in, oh, the day actually starts now. Ding dong. Look at the clock. New day. Just because you've had a bad morning, or again, you got a weird notification on your phone, or, you know, some days you get an email from your boss and they're like, you didn't do this thing. And you're like, oh my God. I don't know. That's my it's not my worst fear, but it's definitely like, oh, that'll ruin me. And then I can decide, okay, this has not been the greatest, but today can start over. And so that's being whimsy. And maybe a good way to be whimsy about that is to have a cute clock. And I don't really have that. That's on my whimsy list because, yeah, if you can look at the clock and it's like a little cat or a little croissant or like something funny, then you can remember not to take your life too seriously. You know, then you can go, okay, it's 11:10, ding dong, like close my eyes, open them up. It's a new day. And I love doing that. But that being said, I do think mornings have a lot of whimsy potential. If you start your morning in whimsy, it's hard to shake it off. And sure, you can restart your day at any time, but I think it's like mornings have the most whimsy potential. And it's actually easier to be whimsy because you're in between your subconscious and your conscious mind. All the stuff hasn't loaded yet, all your responsibilities and like things that you feel like you should have done differently or whatever. There is that little moment. And for me, that was a really, really, really big game changer. I used to fill my brain with news, headlines, emails, and look, I'm not saying don't look at your phone in the morning. I don't understand people. I'm not going to be that kind of person. I'm never going to be that kind of person. Come on, don't look at your phone. What do you mean? I think being too rigid about morning routines can also take the whimsy out of you. Okay? For you on one morning, being whimsy might mean laying in bed and hitting snooze 3 times. Maybe that's the whimsy you need that day. And maybe on another day, it means starting your day and going for a run, right? Or doing a breathwork meditation, or just doing a little red light therapy mask, or just sitting there on your porch and drinking your coffee and enjoying yourself, which by the way, that used to not be, oh my God, it used to not be a thing that you did to relax. Drinking your coffee and just sitting out and looking out at the window or at your porch or whatever it is, that used to just be what people did. Like people, if you're young, if you're in your 20s, you don't have a pre-internet brain. Let me tell you what what pre-internet brain did. You would wake up, you'd go to the bathroom. There was no checking phones, or you had a brick phone and it was out of battery and probably nothing important was in there anyways. You didn't even check your phone first thing. And so I think being whimsy is kind of bringing yourself back to what you did in pre-internet times. And if you didn't exist during pre-internet times, go watch Love Story on Hulu. My God. I'm never going to stop talking about Love Story. It is like, there is it's like when I saw the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. It's so toxic. If you're in any way attracted to toxic people, don't watch it. It is basically the story of JFK Jr., the hottest man who ever lived. Go look up well, you'll see it in the show. It's the casting is so incredible. It's the love story between him and Carolyn Bessette, the cool girl, the cool girl blueprint, which I'm not. I can't really be cool. I'm not mysterious enough. I'm too on the nose, and that's fine. I've accepted that. I will never have black cat energy. I am a golden retriever I'm the golden retriever of a golden retriever. You know, like that's I will never, there's a spectrum, and like I'm just never going to be a black cat. But she was black cat energy. She was gorgeous. They were both beautiful, and it's very toxic. It's intoxicating though. The show is incredible. The music is so inspiring. It brings you back. I mean, I wasn't living in New York in the 90s at all. But it brings you back to 90s New York. And I think if you want inspo about how to be more lo-fi, how to be a little bit less tech and, you know, brain rot, like if you want to escape sort of a lot of the practices that are common nowadays, you should go watch that. You should go watch that. Watch Love Story. It is, especially, I think, I want to know if guys like it too. I was watching it last night with Simone, and I was like, dude, we were just losing it. Like, we were like, oh my God. And I just thought, is this how men feel when they watch football? The pilot itself, I'm gonna say it. I think I will watch that pilot dozens of times. I'm not kidding. It's gonna be my comfort watch. And in the way that, like, I've seen Bridesmaids trillions of times, and I've seen The Notebook gazillions of times, I feel like the pilot of Love Story, it just starts off. She's getting her nails done, and the paparazzi are outside the nail salon, and they're taking photos of her, and you can tell she's upset, she's anxious, and then the manicure is ending, and she goes, no, you have to change the color. This won't work for where I'm going. No, you have to change the color. I'm sorry. And she's apologizing to the mani-pedi artist, and at once feeling, it's so relatable as a woman when you're like getting a mani and you're stressed out and you feel like you've just been mean or, you know, or short. And then you feel, it just creates this like Russian doll, sort of trifecta of feeling bad, where you're like, I feel bad. And then I was mean. I was kind of short with someone, and now I feel bad that I was short. And so I'm even worse of a person. That's when I know I gotta take a breather. I'm overstimulated. So she is telling the nail artist, oh, can you change it? And she's looking at it, and all the paparazzis, and then she comes out and they swarm her, and she's going into this taxi, and it's just like, it's like all 90s New York, like the lighting, you recognize it, you know, it's like, oh, it's like right on in Soho, and then you see JFK Jr. and he's just the hottest person you've ever seen. Like, it's just like, they're both like just oozing with sex appeal, and he's packing his things to go to the airport, and he has like the perfect aesthetic, when you see rich people travel, and you're like, I'm never gonna be like that. They just, for some reason, rich people, you can tell by their face, you can tell by even though they don't have like a bag that says Gucci, like it's a bag that's so elevated that you're like, I'm amortal. and we are in different social classes. And in his case, he has his little to-go bag, his little travel bag, and it's all perfect and small. And like, you're like, how do you have room left in your travel bag? That's how you know someone's rich. They have a travel bag and it's not filled to the brink. I'm jealous of those people. Maybe that's just being type A. I don't know. I don't know how to bring a bag out into the world and if not to be filled with things that I possibly might need. Yeah, rich people, like, I think it's part of it is their haircuts. It's like rich people, it's like they spend a lot on things that you don't think really matter. Like a soap dish. This is a perfect example. A soap dish, like, I'm sorry, I'm getting the cheapest one, or like it's a soap dish, and a rich person will buy a soap dish that's like $300, and you'll know they're rich, but you won't know why. You won't even really be able to be like, oh, that's an expensive soap dish. You'll just be like, they're rich. That's the best way I can put it. But tell me other ways people are rich, because I feel like it's a fun game. They also have really good eyewear. That to me is the dead giveaway. And I do have Miu Miu glasses, but I bought them in Thailand, and they were not expensive. And whatever, you can wear design, you can do whatever you want. I don't want this to be like shaming anybody. Anyway, that's on rich people. Here's how to be whimsy on a budget. The other thing you want to do is get a carafe. Carafe? I think it's carafe, but like I might be saying it wrong because I'm new to carafes. And a carafe is basically, I used to have like a jar. Actually, like I can see it right now. As you know, in our episode with David Ferrier, whoa, I like jars because I don't want to go refill it all the time. Like I don't want just a little glass of water. Like I'm going to drink it, I'm going to chug it, and then I have to go back to, no. So I usually have this on my bedstand. And I decided, you know what? Let's be more whimsy. Let's get a carafe. Basically a carafe, Google it. If you're not aware, it's a very cute way to add some whimsy to your life. And guess what? Guess who can ruin a whimsy vibe? Just by being around. Of course, a boy. So on my first day of having my new carafe, I put it next to my bed. And who came over? Nick. And obviously I love Nick. I'm so happy when he comes over and we're in bed and, you know, he drank like 4 different like cans of liquid, of beverages in the span. We did record for a bit though, but in the span of maybe like 90 minutes, drank like 4 different beverages. So those cans were just spread out around my room, which I was like, okay, you know, he's a guest, like it's fine. Like, you know, he had to go. And I really don't think that's actually like a big deal. But then last night as I'm going to bed, I turned to my carafe and what do I see in my carafe? Tissue, like used tissue. He like blew his nose and then put it in my carafe. Boys are just of another planet. They really were onto something. If you have a boy in your house, you might have to set some whimsy rules. You might need to say, hey, I've converted to the Church of Whimsy. I don't need you to convert, but I need you to respect that, to respect my religion. So boys can ruin your whimsy. You got to set some rules. I'm very lucky. That is one of the upsides. Another thing that I've been thinking about how to make my life more whimsy, even though I'm alone right now and I do hate living alone. I don't know why it's a problem. I kind of get scared. Does anyone else get scared? I hear a noise and I'm like, am I haunted? Is there a ghost? I don't know. It just feels empty. So one thing that I decided to do was like, well, I'm going to make my apartment like the girliest place on earth because I probably won't be able to do that if it happens and I live with a guy or even with another girl. Like I like a level of girlhood and whimsy that is kind of above average. And so I've decided, let me just whimsy max. Let's do some whimsymaxxing and let's just go full on with it. So I bought a carafe. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put this on top so Nick can't put his dirty Kleenexes in it. Well, this is so whimsy. You can, instead of having like boring prescription jars, that they just give you at the pharmacy, you can buy bedazzled medicine boxes. And that really adds whimsy to my life because in the morning, I don't know, it's not fun to take your medication. And then you can go like, oh, like pop it. Like it just feels like you're a Barbie. I don't know why. Another way to be whimsy is flowers. And I've been seeing this a lot from the whimsy girls that I like to emulate and inspire myself from. They say that you should have flowers in every room, which obviously is not possible on a, I think, regular person budget. Oh my God. And now you saw my Post-it. Okay. I'm going to have to talk about that Post-it. So I decided to buy some fake flowers and to just put them in jars. As you can tell, this is just a jar I reused from a soup I bought. And I just put that around and I just like put it in different places. I'm going to put it here so you guys can see it. And it just kind of immediately puts me in a whimsy kind of mood. Disco balls are also really whimsy. Obviously they're cute to look at, but if you so I took this little disco ball. I don't even know how I got it. I think someone gave it to me. And so I put it down on my bed in the morning and the sun reflects on it. And then it just makes these really cute lights in my room, right? So like light is very whimsy. Music is really whimsy. And sometimes truly all you need to do to put yourself in a good mood is to put on a good song. Okay. And I'm a big proponent of this. If you're going through a breakup or if you're going through a hard time, if you're in the dumps, okay, I get the urge to listen to depressing music. I get it. I want to put on my Sufjan Stevens and just cry and cry even more and just feel bad about myself, right? Like, and I get it. Sometimes you do need to put on the Bon Iver soundtrack and eat a whole pie and just like face the wall. I get it. But if you want your day to have more whimsy, that's not how it's going to happen. Okay. So there are certain songs that I think bring out the whimsy. There's this woman on TikTok who was talking about Ring My Bell. Apparently they ban it from casinos because it is so magnetic and causes people to like win more. I don't know. So basically like when you put that song, it's sort of like a spell. I mean, okay, already. How can you have a bad day? And it's only been 5 seconds. Anita Ward. It just keeps getting better and better. If you're playing the song, you're eating a croissant. How can your day not go the best way, right? Like, how can things not be whimsy? You're inviting magic into your life, right? Because I used to just, and I still do this sometimes, but again, wake up in the morning, shower, put on the daily, hear about the headlines, hear about everyone who's dead and who's done horrible things. And I was like, so weird that I am neurotic the entire day. And like, even though I am not listening to news the entire day, I'm like, that's my, and I'm not pro not listening to the news. Like, I get it. I come from a news junkie family. The news was always on, and I am, I'll never not taking what's going on in the world. But that being said, first thing in the morning, maybe wait a minute, especially now. Like, there was always something crazy, and like, that's not the vibration you want to be on. So I was dating this guy, and he came over, he stayed at my house, and he took a shower, and he was very jovial and a very positive person, and I really liked that about him. And once I overheard him, he would take the longest showers. Actually, like, he kind of broke our shower. This was like a year ago, and he took such long showers that our hot water never got as hot as it used to before he took so many hot long showers. I don't know the science of that, but there really was okay, so this is the song. See, I mean, again, it's all about bells. Dancing in the moonlight. Dancing in the moonlight. Like, and I remember just being like, oh, why don't I always listen to that? Roll delight. Supernatural delight. I mean, whimsy just means I used to scan for danger. Now I'm practicing scanning for delight. It's like, how can I scan for things that are delightful, that make me feel good, instead of scanning for things that are bad and that are dangerous and that I can't control? And I do feel like this like manifestation kind of language, it lacks the sort of scientific backing that makes sure that it doesn't come across as a toxic positivity message, because there's nothing worse when you are down in the dumps for someone to just be like, you should just be positive. The only thing you can control is your mind. Like, the only thing you can control is your thinking. You're like, I want to throw a chair at your face. Like, that is not the funnest thing to be told when you're going through something. But these tips to be more whimsy, or whatever you want to call it, these tips to scan for more delight, is actually just exercising your brain to do the opposite of what it wants to do, which is do things that are comfortable, do things that you already have done. And when things aren't working, that means doing more things that don't work instead of doing new things. Instead of doing, instead of looking at what could go wrong, looking at what's going right, because that's not what your brain is just going to do naturally. So it's a way to sort of take yourself off of that automatic programming, which we're all on if we don't add whimsy. I mean, David Ferrier kind of laughed when he was in my room, because he just said this is aggressively pink and aggressively positive. But I literally that. What's the best that could happen? I have that on my wall, and for me, it's not a only good vibes, like get out of here if you don't have good vibes. It's a reminder for me, because my automatic way of being is what's the worst that can happen. And we got to prep for it. We got to get ready. My anxiety has anxiety. I've said this before, but like I really, that is the best way for me to explain it. So when I wake up and I'm in my head and I'm like, blah, 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 and I see what's the best that can happen, it snaps me out of it. And so I have a lot of these little reminders everywhere. This one's been helping me lately. I put it on a Post-it note on my flowers and it says, help me want what I have. Help me want what I have. Help me want what I have. Because I feel like sometimes I can be but I want this and I don't have it. And I spend so much time thinking about what I don't have. And for me, this is a reminder to notice what I do have and to help me remember the things that I want that I do have, right? And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try and be ambitious about the goals that I have or the things that I want to be changed in my life, but I will be in a way better mood. I will be in a way better headspace to reach my goals if I'm not miserable. If I'm feeling whimsy. For me, Whimsymaxxing allows me to kind of like romanticize my life, which has become sort of an internet meme, but it's like gratitude, right? That's what that means. Romanticizing your life means finding the things that you're grateful about your life and thinking about them and being reminded of them. And to me, that's what sort of whimsy means. It means that when I wake up, my tendency is often to think about things I can't control, is to think about the government, is to think about the world, is to think about someone who I want to be texting me, who's not texting me, or, my roommate situation. I mean, it's been hard. I've been really sad in the mornings. I'll be honest. It does feel, if you've been through any, I think we talk a lot about breakups when it comes to romantic partners. And I think that breakups, can take so many different forms. And for me, this was a really important relationship. And so I have felt really sad in the mornings. In a different world, like a couple of years ago, if I was in my 20s, for example, I would have done the opposite of whimsy. I would have added discipline into my life. I would have added jobs that I need to do so that I could feel better about myself, quote unquote. I don't think that ever worked for me, but here's what like 20s Liz would have done. Well, I'm going to, join this running club. I'm going to go running every morning and I'm going to, almost like get a revenge body, even though like, we weren't even dating. But I think that is where I used to go. If I felt bad about myself, I would punish myself more, which truly, that is one of my biggest regrets about my 20s. I'm like, man, like how much time did I waste just making my life worse by making it worse? And now I think whimsy to me is really a way to show myself love and to focus on things I can control, like taking my little medicine bottle and, here's this thing I don't love doing. How can I make it more whimsy? How can I make it more enjoyable? Literally, how can I make this more fun is my mantra. How can I make this more fun? How can I make this more light? What is a job that I can retire from? What is a job that I never even got hired for and that I can retire from? And one of those jobs for me was like literally hating myself. Like, what can I do to show myself love? I asked the internet, why does making things more whimsy feel good? And it said, because whimsy gives your nervous system a break. Most of your day is built around outcomes, performance, efficiency, being correct. Even your thoughts are often structured around solving or optimizing. That keeps your brain in evaluation mode. Useful, but heavy, and whimsy interrupts that. When you add something playful, slightly unnecessary, or aesthetically delightful, a few things happen. It shifts you out of threat mode. Oh my God, like this is literally what we've been saying. Whimsy signals safety. Whimsy signals safety. You don't decorate your coffee foam like a tiny cloud if you're running from a tiger. I'm going to cry. It reclaims agency. Whimsy is rarely acquired, it's chosen. Yeah, it's like you're focusing on what you can control. And it gives you micro joy without achievement. Whimsy, I would argue, and I say this a lot, and so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I really think everyone's an artist. I'm not the person who invented that. It's something that I think a lot about. I heard this definition of an artist, and it's my favorite definition. This person said, it's someone who makes things beautiful for no other reason than to make them beautiful. Like it's making things beautiful for no reason. It's making things beautiful for no reason. Whimsy has there's no outcome, right? It's not, oh, I have a carafe near my bed so that I drink more water and I'm more efficient and I get into my morning routine more quickly. It's like, no, I drink out of carafe because it's cute. That's the only reason. And doing things just because it's cute is so fun. It's so nice. You're allowed to do things just because it's cute. And that's how I've felt actually sort of changing my apartment as I've been going through this transition. I've been trying to change things, as I've shared already. And I have deliberately decided to, add more little whimsy. Like on our last episode with Nick, where I bought this like heart-shaped pan. Why do I need to eat heart-shaped eggs? There's no reason except that it's cute. And if I can do something like between doing it not cute or doing it cute, if I have time to make it cute, I want it to be cute. And that's really being a girl, by the way. It's really being a girl. Because that, when we say girlhood, like very often it's things that are related to no outcome, to no achievement, that are just beauty for beauty's sake. And I don't mean beauty in a superficial way. I think sometimes we'll say girlhood when it's two women like supporting each other in the bathroom stall, right? For no other reason. She's not doing it to get something. When I think about whimsy and girlhood, like that's what comes to mind. It doesn't need to be pretty, but I want it to be pretty. So what are you going to do to make your life more whimsy? How are you going to whimsy max? Wait, whimsy is resistance. It is making things cute in a world that is burning down is such a political act. It's a really hard time for empaths right now. I've said this a lot. I've written about it on my Substack. If you have a heart, a brain, and a soul, I think it's a little tough to be alive. We have a lot of access to a lot of information that would have every right to make us depressed and not want to do anything whimsy. And so to be whimsy in the face of such darkness, I think is a very admirable thing in itself. And I think it's a service to this planet and to other people. That's how I feel. So because sometimes people will tell me, I do get that question a lot of, I feel so bad all the time. And, and then I want to take breaks from it and I want to go on vacation or do something fun, but then I feel bad and I'm like, baby girl, even if it's a guy, I'm like, baby girl, no. That's how they win. That's how they have you convinced. That's how they have you burnt out. And that's how they win. So be whimsy, take breaks, do cute things just for the sake of it being cute. And that will not only probably make you feel better, but also, I don't know, put you in a better mindset and in a more, like put your nervous system in a better place to be of service at this moment in history. Maybe the history books will document the Church of Whimsy as being a really important part of resisting whatever this is, whatever we call this. I'm gonna have more bites of my whimsy croissant. It's so good. I guess this podcast is kind of whimsy. I hope so. Let's get into some boy problems, shall we? So typically we don't like to answer these really, really, really short ones because it's hard if there's not a lot of details, but it's from a boy and his name is Nias and he has a good question. How can I connect with girls? This is such a good question. Girls are pretty simple. Okay? I don't really buy, well, I do think women's brains are high performing machines, but it's pretty simple to make a girl happy. I really, really believe this. Girls need three things. Number one, we want to be fed. Okay? Never in my life has a man brought me a snack or a food item that I didn't ask for. Never in my life have I been upset. at him after he did that. Never in my life have I been like, oh man, that guy who sent me smoothies when I said I was sick, like that guy's annoying. Bring food. Or if you're going on a date, make sure she likes the food at the date. Make sure that the girl that you're talking to has access to food that she wants and that she likes and that doesn't make her tummy hurt. Okay, so that means checking for allergies, checking for food restrictions. What kind of food do you like? You know, if you're planning a date, it's such a fun question. Oh, some of the best ones is like, I will have mentioned that I'm vegetarian, but like not in terms of like anything related to the date. They'll just like, I would have mentioned it somehow. And then when it's time to pick a restaurant, they'll be like, oh, I found this really cute vegetarian place near your house. And I just immediately, I like you. Immediately, I'm like, you listen to me. Which leads me to my second thing that all women like, which is being listened to. We love when you listen. And this is the part that kind of does blow my mind a little bit, because I think a lot of men feel like they need to be very impressive, and you're very focused on what you say, which obviously I understand. We're all worried about sounding dumb, or we want to impress people and be funny and interesting and all those things. But nothing will get a girl more comfortable and more connected. When you said connect, how do I connect with girls? I feel safe when the guy is actually listening to what I'm saying and that I have proof. And I don't mean intellectual proof. I mean, you asked me a question. Where are you from? Oh yeah, I'm from Montreal. If you listened, you say, oh, so when did you move to the US, right? That in itself, all you did was listen. Right? All you did was, oh, she's from another country. So a good follow-up question would be, when did you leave that country? That's how girls interact. In general. I find women just easier to connect with because I feel like we are yes-anding a lot more. And if you want to be a really good listener, go do an improv class if you need help about that. Also, coming back to things no one ever regrets, I don't think no one ever regrets doing an improv class. It's just such a good exercise to do. I think it's a little whimsy. I think it's a little whimsymaxxing, actually, I guess it's gesture-maxing too, to just be like more ready to play and like have fun and really listen to what someone else is saying. So women really want to be listened to. And the way you do that is just asking questions. Literally, I don't want to tell you to do this because this is the opposite of the point, but like, come up. I've kind of done that. I don't do this anymore, but in my early 20s when I hadn't been on a lot of dates, I almost kind of had questions, not pre-prepared, but based on what I knew about the person, you know, if we had met online or if we had been introduced by friends or, you know, and I looked them up or whatever, I already kind of went in with like, oh, here are topics we could talk about. And I really think that's a good thing to do for guys, because I have been on way too many dates with you where the only topic is you. The only topic is you, yourself, and you. So I recommend having topics at hand. And I say this, the hottest thing you can do on a date with a woman, listen closely. I'm going to tell you. This is how you get a woman to go on a second date with you, or a third date or fourth date or whatever. During the date, you ask her questions. And at one point she says, oh my God, no, but like, what about you? Like, and she asks you a question. You say, no. I'm really curious about this. Tell me more about that. And you don't let her shift the topic back to you. I'm wet. It's happened to me a few times. It's just like shows you're not just doing this. I mean, whatever. If you're doing this as a performance, like that's not great. But to me, what it signals, because I don't think it's a trick. I think it's real. It's like, oh, you're actually interested. Like I'm interesting to you. And I'm not saying don't ever talk about yourself. Don't be weird. That's weird. If you're just like, you're like, what are you, a spy? I'm not saying that. Don't switch the topic back to her every time. But if you do that once, it's happened to me on a date where like there's been many other things that I've been like, but because the guy did that, I was like, no, let's give him another chance. It's a green flag. It's a green flag. Okay, so women want to be fed, women want to be listened to. And I guess the third thing, this one might not apply to all women, but we do want to go deep. And when I say that, I think we want to go deeper than you are maybe used to with men. It's gonna be different. I mean, this is a reminder for myself. I think women also have to not expect men to be like women. like a conversation with a woman and your female friendships, right? I mean, I've kind of talked about this. Like, I don't think you should expect your male partner to be giving you exactly what your best female friend is going to give you. It's just rare that it's going to be on the same level. Not even same level, it's just going to be different, okay? And I think that's okay. I think that's normal. I think it's good to get different things from, different levels of connection and different, you get different things from different people. There's some friends you can really have a lot of fun with, but like, they're not going to be the friends that are gonna go to the hospital with you in the middle of the night. And there are people that you can have really good conversations with and like intellectual, you're gonna like the same, things about bird watching or, about politics. But when it comes to going on roller coasters and going to the Six Flags, like that's not gonna be your person. And maybe those are like uniquely to me, but I just, I think different people are different people. So I'm not saying that women should expect men that a conversation with a guy on a date should feel exactly like a conversation with a woman that's your friend. But I do think that men socialize very differently from the way that women socialize, and the way that men are in relationships with other men is much more superficial. And I'm not saying that as a subjective thing. I mean it objectively. It's more surface. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I want to just laugh and make fart jokes, and I don't want to go deep about my trauma. You know what I mean? And that's fine. But I think that men will leave a date and be like, that was great, because that was how you would have hung out with your dude friend that you went to high school with and like see once a year. And this is a date with a woman. Okay, so she wants to be seduced. She wants to be wanted. She wants you to try. Like she wants you. Well, I'm kind of veering a little away from my point of like going deep. And look, I'm not saying talk about your childhood trauma on your first date. I actually don't trauma dump. Don't trauma dump. And like, I mean this for everybody. I mean, whatever, do whatever you want to do actually. But I think like dating's supposed to be fun. And like a first date is like the only goal I think is to have fun. Let's Whimsymaxx first dates and let's just try and have fun. And you're getting to know someone. But like, I think it's just a lot less painful of an experience if you're not expecting something extremely positive, and then you don't get super disappointed if it doesn't feel that way. And if the person's not the right fit, like if your goal is to just go in and have fun and meet someone new, like it'll be a more enjoyable experience. Anyway, so women will want to go a little bit deeper, and I think there's a way to keep things light and fun, but still be intentional with the questions that you're asking, because that's how I feel safe. Period. If I say something like, well, my mom was like sick growing up, so things were, and you don't go, oh, what did she have, or oh, do you mind if it's too private, we don't have to talk about it, but like, oh, what was that like? If you don't do a follow-up, if I've brought up something that takes us off on a deeper path, and you choose to just go like, so do you like crab cakes? Or that, to me, I'm a double Pisces, all right? So that doesn't just like turn me off. It actually kind of like, it unsettles me. Like I will be a lot less lighthearted and fun actually, if I don't feel like you're attuned to me and sort of what I'm saying. So I would go deep, and then like we do want you to try. The nonchalant stuff, get it away from me. I don't get it. No. I feel like the women who want guys who are nonchalant, I just don't think that they want a boyfriend. I don't know. And there's an in-between, I'm not saying text her 14 times a day with, giant paragraphs, but like put in the effort. It's so nice when you feel like a guy has put in the effort, and the bar is pretty low. Find out what she likes to eat. As I've said, find a place that she likes to eat or she would like to eat that's close to her, so that you are doing the effort to come to her. and, look nice, put some hair gel, whatever it is, put on a nice shirt. I think I've talked about this date where I showed up and like, he was just kind of like barely had a Patagonia, fleece on. And I immediately felt like, well, now I'm overdressed. Like, you never want a woman to feel overdressed on a date. Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's not bad if I'm hotter. If like you're like, oh, I'm like dressed like really, I don't know, I like wore something kind of provocative and hot. Like, I don't care that you're not. But if I'm more overdressed than you, then I just feel like I care more than you do. And that is just like, it's not a good place to start. I'd make a reservation. My God. A few weeks ago, this guy didn't make a reservation. And like, I just didn't know that still happened. And I think if a guy doesn't make a reservation and he's like, oh, like, do you still want to go? I think you have the right to be like, no, I don't really want to wait in line. Maybe we should go on another night when you make a better plan. That's not being difficult. Like, that's not having too high standards. When I've gone out on dates where from the beginning, the way that the date was planned or orchestrated felt a little weird. Not following up the day, right? Saying like, see you tonight. Excited to see you. Still up for 6 at blah, blah, blah. Just a date, checking in on the day, not making a reservation, being late, which, by the way, coming back to love story. Well, I don't want to give it away, but there is a thing about that, about being late on a date. And I really do think, and this will be controversial, but Simone and I talked about it and I stand by what I said. I think that a girl can be late for a date, but I think a guy can't. And that's just the rules of feminism. And I'm not even going to explain it. I think it explains itself. And I'm not saying women should be late on dates. That's not what I'm saying. Don't be late. Don't be late. I mean, I just be period. I think like in general, being on time is a way to show respect to other people. And you want to show respect all the way. But if I am running 5 minutes late or even 10 minutes late, I think more than 10 minutes, that's too much. And even 10 minutes, it's not great, but it's acceptable if you obviously tell them, like, sorry, I'm running late. You have to say it. You have to text. But if a guy is 10 minutes late, red flag. Not red flag, one strike. One strike, not 3. One strike. And this happened a little while ago. We'd said, or he had said, let's meet at this place this time. It's like, great. I think we'd, confirm the morning or so or whatever. Or like, he was like, oh, there's this other place that's available like a little earlier if we can go there. And I was like, great. So we had made that plan. And then he was like, great, I'm going to pick you up at, I'll pick you up on the way or something. And I was like, cool. That's nice. Love that. Points, extra points coming to pick me up. So hot. If you want to connect with a girl, pick her up in the Uber. Or if you have a car, obviously, like, do that. But like, once in New York, I was dating this guy, and he, on our first date, got me in an Uber. And like, the place was literally a couple blocks from my house. But he was like, oh, great, I'll grab you in an Uber. And that was like so hot, I can't tell you. Anyway, whatever, we're supposed to meet at 6. And he was supposed to pick me up at 4. The place is like 15 minutes away from my house. It's close, but, parking, like, and it is now 5:30 and I have not heard from him. I haven't heard, hey, running late, or like, I'll pick you up at this time. Like, I still don't know. You haven't given me an exact time that you're coming. And now it's getting close to the time where I should be leaving if we're still meeting at 6 at this place. I was literally like, looking at my clock. I was like, okay, it's 5:30. Give him 5 minutes. And it was like 5 minutes and it was 5:35. And I was like, give him 5 more. Give him 5 more. But I'm getting real angry now. I don't want, like, now I was in a great mood. I got real cute. I've spent an hour getting ready, and like, now I'm in a bad mood. 5:40. I go, okay, it's 5:40. I'm organizing my own transportation. So I call myself a car, and then a couple of minutes later, he texts, okay, cool, I'm on the way, like, be there. And I was like, oh, I already called a car. See you at the restaurant. And I wasn't overly exclamation point. I also wasn't like, hey, head, I just was like, oh, I already called a car because I hadn't heard from you. I think that's what I said. And he showed up at the restaurant and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's fine. Strike 1, but it's fine. And we laugh, but also It is strike one. Maybe I'm insane, but I don't think that's being insane. It's tough out there. Also, I have been told that men like this, that men like the chase. I've been told that men really like being men. So pursue us. Don't be nonchalant. Be on time. Be early. Be early. Be early. Okay, I hope that was helpful. That was a really, really long way to answer that question. I thought I would answer that question in a very short way, and it turns out I had a whole thesis ready. I hope that was helpful. I hope this episode was helpful to somebody who wants to add whimsy in their life, or someone who used to have whimsy and maybe hasn't had a lot of whimsy lately. I hope this episode was helpful to men who are trying to let women be whimsy or be more whimsy themselves. Whether you are a he, a him, a they, a she, you can add more whimsy to your life. And that's the whimsy protocol. That's the protocol. So please keep leaving your comments on the show. Your reviews are actually really, really, really important because this is breaking news. We're almost at a number that would allow us to maybe have sponsors. And what that means is that I could afford a third camera. One way you can add more whimsy to your life is to share this podcast with a friend or with a lover or with a coworker and bring more people into the Boy Problems family. We need a name. You guys are smarter than me. Come up with something. Put it in the comments. On our episode called What You're Not Changing, You're Choosing, we had so many cute comments. Nicole Castagneri says, this episode made me feel way better about how my brain works and also made me laugh a bunch. Aw, Nicole. And then Carly said, obsessed with your honesty and your hopealism. The world needs more Liz. We're hopeaholics. That's what brings delight into our lives. Yeah, it's a way to have hope, isn't it? To be more whimsy. Okay. Michelle said, oh my God, the same roommate thing happened to me too in April of 2020. It was worse than a breakup. Michelle, I'm sorry that happened to you in the midst of a global pandemic, no less. That must have been really, really challenging. But you know what? You come out on the other end of it and you know yourself better. And hopefully, there's opportunities for growth and you go where the love is. Stephanie Farah says, what would I give to be your roommate? Honestly, you kind of all are my roommates. Maybe this is the arc of this tragedy in my life, which is that the real roommates are the ones you make along the way. Is that it? The real roommates are the listeners you find along the way. The Boy Problems listeners you find along the way. I love it. Sasha says this resonates. Everything always seems to happen at once and then all over again ad infinitum. Am I saying that right? I firmly believe the universe hates me. Aw, but then but look at everything you overcome and you're still there. Superpower ? I love that. I do feel like today's episode is another way to show us that there are so many ways of bringing joy and happiness into our lives, even when things don't feel like they're heading that way or actually heading in the opposite direction. Okay, Dila. There's a lot of A's. Dila says, I'm so surprised that you managed to heal my brain and plan an entire bachelorette party in one episode. Yeah. No, I can't wait to get an update on that bachelorette in Montreal. If I don't hear about it, I'm going to be real sad. Oh, Maddie says my favorite episode so far. Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you for your amazing, beautiful words. And make sure to tune in next week. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, what are you doing? If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, come on. Let's hang out there. And please keep sending your boy problems. That's really, I want to hear from you. I love hearing from you. It's the best. And you're the best. I hope you buy yourself a croissant or buy a girl a croissant and find the whimsy that you deserve in your life. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye. Com Deus me deito, com Deus me levanto,